Fuck, kill, spread death and destruction as they destroy. And we still do as we are told. Well, they make laws and pass bills, brainwashed by everything around us. All we see.
My name is William Pina. I'm out of Teamsters Local 396 in Los Angeles. I'm a 30-year member of the union, 30-year veteran, 97 strike veteran as well.
And why don't you talk about this heat wave, because Southern California, this country is facing a very grave climatic situation for working people, and especially those workers who are outside on the roofs or on the driving trucks. What's it like, and what should be done about it?
It's complete hell in the trucks right now. I mean, it seems like every other day workers dying, and nobody's doing anything about it. It's just swept under the rug by both the company and the union, and we need more action. We need more action by the company and the union, and I feel nothing's going to happen unless workers rally around that work outside and that work in trucks. If we rally together and we push our leaders to do the right thing, if not, nothing's going to happen, and it's just going to keep getting swept under the rug. And I just want to mention that I tell everybody, if you did this in another country that's heavily unionized, with the amount of deaths that we're having right now, especially in the South, in Texas, I've heard of members dying in Florida. If it would be a general strike, nobody would go to work, and there would be immediate change right away. And I don't know what it is about this country that doesn't value workers' lives. We need to start valuing our lives. We need to start taking care of each other, and we have to start looking out for each other as workers. And
the company, UPS, said they were going to air condition. They can put air conditioning in the trucks. Why is it not happening?
We don't know why it's not happening. I don't have an answer. The only thing that I've heard is because supposedly profits are down, and that's something that was in the contract, that only if profits were up, then they would go ahead and purchase new vehicles for the fleet. But that's all I know about that. So I can't really say why.
I mean, it sounds like a national emergency for workers. I mean, workers are dying all over the place. I mean, shouldn't this government, the California government, declare an emergency and demand that these companies install air conditioning in trucks?
Well, yes, of course. I'll tell you. I'll go a step further. I think that our union leaders should be going to the members' homes, to the funerals, and apologizing to those families, because these deaths could be stopped right now if the contract was enforced, and if we had some actual labor law that protected workers in the heat with teeth, and make these greedy corporations pay for what they're doing right now.
It doesn't even seem like that's an issue in the campaign. There's a national election campaign. Worker deaths because of heat doesn't even seem to be an issue.
It doesn't seem to be an issue. It's like normal. We've normalized this, and I just can't wrap my head around how we treat, like I said, how we treat the workers here in this country. It's just unbelievable. I mean, something needs to happen, and it needs to happen now. And we can't wait. Global warming is here. I was just in the area of California that was 115 degrees. You can't work in that. It's impossible to work in that, especially in a truck. If you're in the back of the truck, it's another 10 degrees. So you say it's 100 out here in LA, it's going to be 110 in the back of your truck. Those are deadly-ish. Those are deadly conditions. And I'm going to mention another thing that nobody talks about. We just went through a deadly pandemic. We were frontline workers. A lot of us caught COVID. We didn't even know if we had it or not. And as you know, COVID attacks your heart, it attacks your lungs, it attacks your brain. So if you're in the back of the truck and your immune system is down because of that, that's an issue. Also, one other thing is they're making people come into work with COVID, or else management is going to write you up right now. I think that's another issue that's not being talked about a lot, and that's something that needs to be, enforced. We need to stay home when we're sick, because when we're out there in the road in the heat, we're going to experience, heat-related injury, or even up to death. So it's really important that we start talking about these issues right now.
And Gavin Newsom has cut back on Cal-OSHA. There are less than 200 OSHA inspectors. Have there been any OSHA inspections of these trucks? I mean, it's heat. They have a heat standard in California. Are they enforcing it?
No, they're not enforcing anything. I have not seen any kind of enforcement whatsoever. OSHA coming out to our buildings or asking any type of questions, or holding our safety. We have safety committees and they're ineffective. They really don't do anything for us, and that needs to also be overhauled. I mean, the answer is if we as workers don't demand better working conditions, we're not going to get them. And it's going to take leadership. It's going to take workers to organize themselves. It's going to take the whole labor movement in order for this to happen.
You think the leadership of that should be the union, should be demanding it of Governor Newsom and the politicians?
Absolutely. The union should be demanding that of the politicians, Governor Newsom, our state reps, all the way down to our city council people. And I also think that our union leaders should be holding UPS accountable for what they're doing right now, and it's not happening. It's because we're too bound by this labor peace, which is in our contract. I think labor peace, when a member dies, it goes out the window. And I'm the type of person that says, you know what, an injury to one is an injury to all. We need a strike, and we need a strike for those air conditionings in our truck.
Andres Tinajero, Roofers and Waterproof Local 36 business agent.
And there's a whole heat wave coming on in California, throughout this country, and workers, it seems, I've heard, are dying, are really being affected by this. Is that the case in your industry?
The weather is affecting us all over the world, and not just in the United States, all over the world. Nowadays, climate change is even crazier, and it's unpredictable because one day it's hot. Like example, last week it was snowing around there by Mammoth, and right here it's so hot. And now with us as roofers, we have a challenge because whatever temperature is in the outside, you got at the 10 to 15 more degrees, depending on what material you're using. We do a single ply, which is white, reflects all the heat. It's not basically only the heat, the cancer, the effects of the UV rays, the fatals. So people don't find out they have a cancer in the skin until we have all those consequences. The brown spots, people use curlers. For us, we expect the cancer in the skin and also the heat stroke. So always challenge making a phone call, contacting the foremen, I go constantly to visit the projects, and make sure that the foreman is given the good break, water, cool water on the roof. Also need to have shade for our workers on the roof because heat is a serious thing.
It's a life and death question. Now, I mean, it sounds like it should be an emergency situation. There's a safety rule in California about heat. Is OSHA showing up? Are there inspections to protect workers?
Well, OSHA never show up unless there's a fatal accident. They will start doing, digging, looking for. Look at this example right now. We're in the room, and I'm sweating. Even here in the room, so in the roof is even worse. I know the OSHA has so many good regulations for construction workers, for the field workers, which it demands for every 4 hours you get a 10 to 15 minutes break plus your 30 minutes lunch. But for us roofers, we're supposed to give one break 10 minutes early in the morning, break at 30 minutes lunch, and another break at 10 minutes. If any of our employees feel sick or feel any heat stroke, they're free to ask the foreman for such time. Because there's a heat stroke, it's serious, it could be fatal, ended up worse.
There are a lot of workers in your industry who are non-union. What rights do they have in protection? You have a union, but if you're non-union, what does that mean?
That's a good question. What our no-union workers who work in those small companies, mom and papa, or whatever, roof industry, basically in the construction, they're afraid to speak out because they're afraid to lose their job, take reprisals, take something. So they're afraid. Most of the time, some of those workers use tolerance, they have to swallow it. And this is the cases when they happen most of those fatal accidents.
And do you think that the government should be doing something? It should be an emergency situation. It seems like an international emergency, that there should be action to take to protect workers so they don't die.
Definitely. I mean, I think it should be considered doing because the heat stroke, as we mentioned, is getting bad lately. And the weather climate is crazy.
It's getting worse.
It's getting worse. As I mentioned, look, I'm still sweating, not because I'm nervous at all. But I mean, the heat is real. It's real. The heat is a serious thing that we need to consider. The government has to do some kind of change. The emergency call to get us on the page because the weather is crazy for all of us in the working industry.
Okay, thank you very much.
No, my pleasure.
Great.